Yo, what is up, you guys, and welcome to Records and Rants. This is a show where we rant about music, albums, anything music related, and we have a little rant at the end, whether that be about music or just something else in life. And with me, as always, to go through these things is Dixon. How are you?
Ice, wow, man. Records and Rants, episode what? Is this episode four?
Yeah, it is episode 4. I've been renaming them. I think I restarted the numbering because we're no longer doing the live aspect of it. I don't know if I
We
should
lost
change that or I don't
we
know.
lost our roots. We lost our roots.
Yeah,
We're back to where we started in reality.
yeah, we lost our roots, then we found them back. I don't know the live. We've discussed this before, but the live aspect just wasn't doing it because
hmm
we didn't have a following to begin with, and I thought it would bring people
hmm
in. Like people would just see, oh, here's a podcast that I could just listen to. But we had one single person join in. They all they commented was no, 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 no over and over again, and that was it. And
Shout
then
out
they
to
left.
shout out to the no guy.
Yeah, shout out to No Guy if you're out there. Appreciate you, but I mean, what the hell were you talking about? That's what I want to know. What were you
What is the
referencing?
no?
I don't.
Yeah,
Yeah, I don't even know what we were talking. I think we were talking about Truth Social, maybe.
probably yeah,
Yeah, it was something weird like that.
yeah, something probably something like that. But
Yeah.
you get all sides here in reality. I think.
Oh yeah, 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 for sure. But how are you doing today, Dixon? Anything new? Anything going on in your life?
New and exciting. No, nothing's happening.
Yeah,
Nothing to report anyway.
yeah, yeah, me either. It's been a slow week since we talked last, since
You know,
our last hit
yeah.
show.
Because you were saying that you've been a busy guy. You've been kind of chilled out lately. You've been doing your thing, trying to get the studio set up,
Oh yeah, I
and
finally did that.
well, that's a good thing. Wow, did you get a recliner? Did we discuss this on air?
Yeah, I think we did.
You considering getting a recliner? Is that what I remember? How's the furniture layout looking? Is there furniture in there? Is there something that it needs?
Yeah, definitely. So I have my desk, which is an L-shaped desk in the corner. I have my whole
hmm
setup here. I got my dual screen going on. I got then I have ample room on the right hand side for whatever I need. And then I have my entertainment center with my TV there. I got my video gaming stations hooked up
Oh,
there,
nice,
and then
nice.
I have my girlfriend's. Now, let me know if you know what I'm talking about. You know what a papasan chair is? Have you?
Opposite chair. Never heard it in my life. No.
Really, you would know it if you saw it. It's like a little bowl. It's like a bowl chair that sits on like a weird wicker weave together like wooden base.
Oh, I see these. Okay, yeah, I know what these are.
Yeah, it's very hippie kind of thing to have, I think.
Yeah, when you originally said that, I thought I was picturing one of those things you see like at Marshalls that are like it's like the wicker, it's like a bowl, like it's like a hollowed out bowl of wicker that is like dangling on a hook.
Oh, yeah,
Have you
it's
seen those things?
I've seen
Yeah,
it's kind. Imagine that, but in like ground form. It's not dangling. It's just
yeah.
like it's set on the ground. It's super comfortable though. To believe it or else.
Believe it or not. There's some real BTS,
Yeah,
some
yeah,
real
that's
BTS.
a real BTS. But yeah,
Yeah, these are pretty nice.
yeah, no, they're not bad. The funny thing is, it's like I'm looking at it like the padding or like the pillow that you set on it. It's like a dog bed. That's kind of what it seems like. It's
Right.
like a big dog bed, but it's super comfy.
That's what it reminds me of.
Yeah.
Um, there is a. I'm looking at getting, speaking of furniture, a like a sort of like a dining room table.
Oh yeah.
And the thing is, we haven't really. I'll be completely honest. We're just total millennial individuals, and we just pour our slop in a bowl and
Yep.
eat at the table, eat at the TV.
Yeah.
And but I'm thinking it might be nice. It might be nice to to complement the space to get like a sort of a table because we have like a bar going with stools, and those get used every once in a while.
Yeah.
But to have a place to like sit down and like a dedicated place, and even like somewhere like to put like your stuff, like if you come in with stuff,
Oh yeah.
like cup, whatever. Yeah, I have my gymnasium bag. Don't want to get into it, but whatever. Like just somewhere to
Wow, really
set that
hitting
stuff.
the weights.
Just somewhere to set that stuff in the meantime. But I want to get like one of those what they call like a formica. I guess it's formica,
Yeah.
like a retro style chrome table, like kind of like you see like a diner, but
Wow.
like not being a booth.
Wow. That I did
That
not expect that.
really,
No, that well, actually, I could see your style. I could see you going for that. Really, really eclectic. Really, just
wow, yeah.
fashionable. Out there, but also refined at the same time.
Yes, that's
Yeah.
the thing that's like kind of holding me back is that table. But I think I'm gonna get like they have like these real like generic like looking neutral tables that every millennial individual seems to have. They have one on Walmart for like 140 bucks. I think I'm gonna get that. It's round, you know.
Yeah. All right. I say you go for it. I think it'll fit in there.
Yeah, I
I
mean,
think it'll fit the decor.
yeah, I think it's like because we're kind of going with this neutral, but also verging on industrial, but also mid-century.
This
I
is
don't know.
a totally new genre of decoration we're going into.
But also coastal. It's like
But also
it's
you're all over the place.
twist of coastal. It's like as if you brought a brutalist factory to the beach.
Wow.
Is exactly what it would look like, like real just impending doom.
Oh my god. That's fantastic. We're gonna have to think of a name for that. Impending, really a new wave impending doom.
Yeah, yeah, definitely. New wave would be a good way to describe it. I don't think that's been used for architecture
I
or
like that.
interior design.
I like that. I like that a lot. Well, I'm looking forward. I will say with the dining room table, we have one and
Yeah.
we use it like if I'm cooking like a nice meal, we're having a
Hmm.
nice meal together for whatever. We'll
Hmm.
sit at the dining room table, but it doesn't really get you other than like put your stuff on.
Right.
Because like you said, we're millennials. We fill up our
Hmm.
slot bowls and we sit
Hmm.
and drain our brains just watching mindless reality television. So
Right.
usually
Yeah.
we're doing that. But
Yeah. Absolutely.
the great thing is if you have guests over, like if we're having a gathering or we're playing a card, Cards Against Humanity, the game that everyone plays or something like that, where you're having drinking
Hmm.
games or whatever, we sit at the
Hmm.
dining room table. So
See,
that's
that's
nice to
nice.
have. Yeah.
It's a nice gathering spot. I like that a lot.
Oh, for sure. So yeah, I recommend it. I think you guys are you're gonna be happy with the dining room table.
Yeah, I think I'm gonna pull the trigger on dining room table. But then I read the reviews on this one. You got to like put it together, and it's real flimsy. Like I'm not
Oh,
expecting
jeez.
a Taj Mahal dining table, but it's
Yeah.
like, what do you need all this construction for this basically a piece of plywood
Yeah.
that they painted?
I
I
don't
don't know.
know. Hey, but I'm sure you could reinforce it if need be.
I don't know. Whatever. We'll figure it out. I'll let you know.
Whatever.
I'll let you know from the couch when we're eating dinner.
Oh, it's great. It's great.
so so speaking of smiling about these things, I heard
Yeah.
that you
Oh boy.
listened
Oh boy.
to an album called Smile and you have some thoughts.
I did. I did
All right.
listen to the album Smile circa 2004.
Okay, the 2004 Brian Wilson version of Smile, right?
Yes. Now,
Yeah,
I have some questions before we go into this because I need to
go
educate
for it.
myself because like I said, if in case anyone doesn't know, Dixon recommends an album and I listen to it and I go in blind. I don't know about the band. I don't look up anything. I don't even look up when it's from, except this time
Mhm.
because he wanted me to listen to the 2004 version. But anyway, now this Brian Wilson, who is this guy? Who is this Brian Wilson? Who is this guy?
Brian Wilson is the lead is the is the lead. This is really just started absolutely at square one. The first square you could possibly encounter is where we're gonna start, and I like that. Brian Wilson is the leader of the Beach Boys. So Brian
Okay.
Wilson was a chief songwriter, producer, wrote a lot of their music, all their music in reality, co-wrote the lyrics with his cousin Mike Love, and he was also in the band with his brothers Carl Wilson, who played lead guitar, and then you have his brother Dennis Wilson, who played drums.
Okay. I
Yeah,
got you now. So he's the leader. So that's and this whole thing it was never released
right. So he
until
is
now.
the Beach Boy, and it wasn't released. It was released in a pre-packaged, really strangely laid out format in I forget what year it was, but it came out as Smiley Smile
Okay.
was one of the first iterations of it.
Hmm.
And then throughout the early 70s, they released bits and pieces of Smile, the album that should have been released in 1967 throughout the early 70s on different albums. Surf's Up, Friends, all that kind of stuff. And then it bootlegs came out, and there's a bunch of pressings of bootlegs. Actually have a really cool one of a bootleg pressing that people would make how it should have sounded based on what was released, throughout this late 60s, early 70s.
That's really interesting. Okay.
Yeah, it's cool. Yeah, there's a lot of like if before the 2004 version came out, there was a lot of versions online, and there still is, of like what Smile would have sounded like what it should have sounded like. There's a ton of bootlegs like that people put together of what the album would have been, and then it got an official release. I guess you can call it official in 2011. They released a whole box set of the Smile sessions.
Is 2004 not the total recording session of this whole thing?
No, this is a brand new total recording. The recordings, the songs, and the music that would have been released in 1967. They got together. Brian Wilson has his own band, and they re-recorded and made the album with that music from '67. However, in 2004.
Okay. I think I'm
Yeah.
all caught up now. I think I get it. I would like to listen to Smiley Smile though originally, because if I look at the genre here, it's actually considered lo-fi and bedroom pop, which
Really?
sounds pretty interesting. And you said this is how it was with, like, I guess downgraded kind of audio, or
Yeah.
like,
Well, not even audio, just downgraded. Like they took songs, they rewrote them, they put things together, they mashed things up, they took things away, they rewrote things.
that's really interesting. That's like a
Yeah.
I don't know. I feel like that's like a true, like, artist at work, kind of like going through the process, and like you get to see that process through the album. Would that be a good way to describe that?
That would be a good way to describe it. However, they the Smiley Smile
There's a lot
was
to this, I feel
what?
like.
Yeah. However, Smiley Smile was a rushed album because at this point Brian Wilson is not touring with the band. He flipped out because he's thinking that he caught a studio on fire by playing a song that sounds like fire. Um, he's thinking that the Beatles had already written the greatest song on the greatest album of all time with Sergeant Pepper. He's worried about this stuff. Meanwhile, he's experimenting with LSD. He's impaired psychosis, and basically went to bed for like 10 years, like laid in bed for like 8 to 10 years.
Wow, that is
Yeah,
that's
yeah,
bizarre. That makes this album a lot more haunting to
yeah,
me. You know,
yeah.
when I
This
think
is
about it
yeah.
like that.
Yeah, there's a lot of stuff at the background here. Like even like he had like if you really want a good background on kind of where things were. There's a lot of like they did like a lot of those like TV movies and stuff.
Yeah,
But they did one. John Stamos was the executive producer. I don't know if you know this, but John Stamos has. Of course you do. They have a
yeah,
pretty
yeah,
close association with the Beach Boys.
yeah.
John Stamos was the executive producer of An American Family on ABC, and
Hmm.
was actually I think it's actually pretty good from what I've seen. And I think you get it on YouTube. It's free, or they have it like on Amazon or whatever. But you look at that, and then you kind of have an idea of where okay, mid '60s, early '70s, up until in reality, up until the late '70s, what Brian Wilson was up to, which really wasn't a whole lot. Carl Wilson was kind of the de facto leader of the band. You know, Brian would contribute some things. At one point, he had a sandbox in his house. That is like I need to feel the beach,
This
so he had a sandbox in his house.
Wow.
And he was tripping on LSD, so he was writing California Girls. So the beginning of California Girls has like a really distinct chord. So
Hmm.
like for like hours, he just played the opening chord, and then they wrote the song.
I
Um,
man, I would
yeah,
love I would
yeah,
love to talk to these people and just understand their process of like what they went through. I
yeah,
mean, like, do you feel like a lot of this, and I swear we'll get into I'll talk about what I thought about the album, but like,
yeah.
do you think that a lot of this stuff from this era was all inspired by LSD? Like, was this a thing brought on by like the Beatles, that they're like, oh well, the Beatles made this great
Yeah.
album because they were on LSD, like we should all do it and try to
Well,
get
that's a good
inspiration.
question. I think Bob Dylan was the first one to introduce the Beatles to marijuana,
Hmm.
and then you had in Brian Wilson at the time in California, Laurel Canyon. You had all these bands going. You had CSNY. You had and the Beatles were still part of that West Coast vibe, even though they were across the pond, as they say. but you
Yeah.
had a whole vibe, a whole eclectic vibe of drug use and everything else. Now, there's a Smile documentary that came out along with this, and one of Brian Wilson's friends says, LSD kind of put him over the edge when it came to his schizophrenia and things like that. And he was misdiagnosed for years, over medicated for years. He fell in with this doctor in the early '80s that basically was draining him of his funds and just kept him completely medicated, unable to communicate for a few years. That's documented in the movie Love and Mercy, if you want to check that out.
Wow.
But
Man, this guy, you're like an encyclopedia. I'm sorry. You continue. This is incredible.
it's one of the things I really enjoyed. But from there, the one guy in the documentary says, it took him over the edge, but what he had created with LSD, and I think that's kind of a slap in the face. But I also think they really unlocked some doors to what he was going to do and what he was feeling. Like at one point, they were doing a recording session. They're all wearing like fireman helmets. The one session they had was literally just farm animals, and then the other one was just banging on glasses and making woodshop noises. So
mean,
it was interesting. I mean, he had a drug tent in his living room, but at that point, like he starts to get involved with these unsavory characters, basically people who were like kind of trying to hitch up to his genius and that kind of thing. And then at the same
yeah.
time, Dennis Wilson, his brother, is involved with Charles Manson. So
Oh boy.
that's
This
a whole
is
big thing, man.
wow. This is like I feel like I could watch entire documentary on this album alone and
Yeah,
everything
yeah, it's huge.
surrounding it. This is
Yeah.
this is interesting because I feel like if you ever were to do LSD, I feel like it'd be difficult to write the songs that are in this album, but I could understand being inspired
Hmm.
by it. Does
Hmm.
that make like I don't know. I could see like if you're in that haze, like maybe you
Yeah.
could get to it. And I also understand how psychosis could be a thing if you do LSD for a long time. That totally makes sense. But
I've never done the thing itself, but I've heard rumors that you've experienced what this is like.
yes, yeah, and we're not saying they're true or not, but if I
Uh,
had, I will say that yeah, I have, and uh, yeah, it's definitely an interesting experience. Could be
hmm.
scary at
Hmm.
times. It could be very, very, very chill at times, and
Hmm.
a lot of things are very funny. Um, and it definitely, I could see it getting you in a creative mode. Now, if you're quote unquote
Hmm.
tripping, where like to the
Hmm.
point where you're seeing things, I would argue that you're not in the capacity to write music,
Okay,
but
gotcha. I'm with you. I'm with you.
maybe I'm wrong. Maybe these guys were able to handle it. They were very familiar with it, and they were able to take it, be under the influence of it, and write this music. But I mean, I don't know.
Timothy Leary at Harvard, when he was doing like those acid trials, he said that he gave it to like priests and nuns.
Yeah,
They said it was the most religious experience they'd ever have in their lives.
really,
Yeah. But now I feel like in this
that's
day and age, could you
interesting.
ever get like such a pure sample? Could you ever get such a pure,
Uh,
untainted that it's like, okay, it's really gonna unlock things. It's not just cut with like, I don't know, gasoline or something. I don't, you
I
know?
I would say that you're probably correct because
Yeah.
so many times if you hear like oh well that this stuff is this just going around to music festivals and listen to people talking like you'll hear this like they'll say oh well this was a dirty high or like this was a clean this stuff's real clean man you'll get and it's true like it's like a fog other
Hmm.
times it's really strange to explain if you haven't experienced it but yeah, and that I think that just goes to show you that what they were dealing with back in the 60s was probably actual pure stuff. It probably doesn't make you
Right.
as messed up as today's stuff does.
Right.
That's cut with God knows what.
Right. And that's funny because I remember in grade school how everything was like that dare,
Yeah.
and you had dare,
Yes.
and everybody you just walk. It sounded like you're gonna walk out off of the school bus into the street, and they were gonna offer you drugs immediately.
Yeah.
And every time I've
Where
been in a
is it?
situation, yeah, right. Every time I've been in a situation that were narcotics were around me, I was, you know, comfortable in that situation. It wasn't like it was a pressure thing, whatever. It was kind of just a
Yeah.
social aspect. However, up until I've never experienced being offered random narcotics. However, up until about 3 weeks ago, I was
Whoa.
going up the stairs to this tavern, this pub,
Okay.
and I had a tie-dye T-shirt on featuring a certain musical group. You know,
Oh.
they play 40-minute songs. You know, the Grateful Dead,
Oh yeah.
and
Well, you're a
the guy,
target.
yeah, the guy asked me, he said, "Hey, do you want some acid?" I said, "No, I'm good, thanks, though."
Yeah, and like yeah, like that's it. No one's
Yeah,
like pressuring you to
yeah,
do like, hey, you have to do this right now.
yeah. He goes, "Oh, I saw your shirt. I thought you'd be into it." I'm like, "Nah, I'm good, thanks, though. I appreciate
Yeah.
it."
Yeah, it's always like a really cordial experience. It's like,
Yeah.
no, no, thank you though, sir.
Oh man, I love it.
uh, that's great. but
Yeah.
but yeah, this album was a trip, no pun intended.
Wow.
It
Wow, that's wild.
it really was, and I'm just gonna say it right off the bat. This kind of music
Mhm.
just it's not for me.
Wow.
Unfortunately, and I apologize
Wow.
to everyone out there. I'm
What
not.
kind of music is for you? Because
I
I'm wondering
I
wondering what music is for you
I
because
don't know.
this is just unbelievable. Some of the greatest albums of all time. Maybe not the National, but I mean, my
Yeah,
God.
well, that one I don't know who that's for, but what what I'm saying is I could definitely appreciate this music. It really seemed like I mean just the use of instruments alone in this album
Mhm.
was all over the place.
Right.
I couldn't even define a genre because as I was listening to it, it was like I don't even know. It seemed like almost like film scores, and then it was like
Hmm.
you had like what was the one I have it written down here, Cabin Essence. Then it started going in like
Oh man.
into banjo. It was like it
Yeah.
was like some like like folk music or something or
Absolutely. Yeah.
bluegrass, and then I mean it was all over the place. The what's that instrument called? The theremin.
Yeah. Theremin. Yeah.
I mean, like just all this stuff tossed in.
Hmm.
The violin in the beginning of um, Our Master Painter / You Are My
Oh
Sunshine.
yeah.
That
Oh
was
man.
probably one of my favorite. I know it's like very simple, but that was probably one of my favorite songs
Oh
on the
man.
entire album. But just that violin intro right there,
Yeah.
it was a cacophony of instruments, and it really impressed me how they put it all together and made it work. Like you'd be listening to a line and then suddenly it would switch up and you'd start hearing like trumpets or sax
Right.
or whatever, and I was like, oh my
Right.
god, like I would never you would it this album keeps you on your toes in a good way
Right.
is
And in
is, is
reality,
what I'll
when you
say.
think exactly, when you think about it, I think what he was trying to do, I don't think he had access. They didn't have the technology developed to mix it and put it together like he wanted to do it. They were literally taping, recordings together to make it happen because everything was layered, everything was working together.
Yeah,
Literally did not have the technological capabilities to do it well until the last 20 years.
that's crazy.
Yeah.
I can't even imagine the logistics behind putting all of this together because there's a lot of just all the different tracks and like the vocals and just everything.
Hmm.
I really do want to look into how they put this together because that was my experience with it. Like it was all
Hmm.
fantastic music and but again what really impressed me was the variety
Hmm.
and the just all the instruments that they put together that you would never think would come in like the song that you're listening to at that time. It was just it was definitely a trip. I would actually liken it to when I listened to Dark Side of the Moon for the first time.
Wow. Wow.
It was an experience, I will say.
Wow.
It was definitely on the brighter side, but at some points like I was listening to some of the lyrics, I don't know, there were some points that were like kind of haunting. I really don't
Hmm.
even know how to describe it. But is there like a darker
Hmm.
meaning behind any of these songs that are in this album?
Wow, wow. If we could only begin, if we only can
Mm.
begin to access the darker side. Well, I think, like I said, in reality, this is a journey from Plymouth Rock, Massachusetts, to Diamond Head, Hawaii, and in the middle you have America. You have America in the middle, right? You have the American songbook. You have things going on. I don't think a lot of that was pleasant, especially when they're building. He talks about the railroads.
Yeah.
The level of racism built upon the railroads that really connected the whole country, right?
Hmm.
Um, you also have, like I said, if you listen to the song, you listen to Mrs. O'Leary's cow
Oh,
fire,
that
right? And
yes.
basically,
That
yeah, it's an element suite. It's all about the elements. He goes into water. He goes into all that kind of stuff. is it hot as hell in here or is it me? It really is a mystery, that
Hmm.
one set of lyrics, right? At this point, it's just a haunting song at any level, because if you could put audio to fire, like I said, except for like the crackling and like, I don't know, whatever, that would exactly what it would sound like in my mind.
Yes.
However, you could see he's making some of those struggles mentally, professionally, personally, because he wants to progress the Beach Boys. Capitol Records isn't too thrilled with it because they sell cars about surfing and records. Some of the members of the band aren't too thrilled with it because they sell records with surfing and cars and girls and
Yeah.
those kind of things. And so he's wanting to do his own thing, and he's getting pressure from every which way. Not to mention the fact that he's dealing with some mental illness. So I think that's translates into some of those things.
That's I don't know. It's just crazy. Like this whole
Mm,
song was very. It was like chaotic almost. It was
wow.
experimental. It was very interesting, especially that song. That I don't
We
know.
think we think
Those
about Surfs Up.
Surfs Up. I actually love Surfs Up.
I'm gonna send
I
you.
actually wrote fantastic song, and I love the vocals and the harmonization. That's what I wrote down.
I'm gonna send you the version they released, which is it's great. It's basically how it was supposed to be,
Okay.
but that Brian Wilson sings on piano, and it is just incredible. I don't know. I just there's something about it.
There's, I feel like you could talk. We could probably make an episode on each song in this album because
Sure,
I feel like I was kind of in over my head listening to it and trying to talk
sure.
about it. I really couldn't think of anything other than like, oh, like wow, like I just I was shocked that they could make music like this.
Sure, absolutely. No, 100%. It's it's one of those things that might require another listen, just to and with headphones too.
Yes,
Like you gotta like pick
I
up the
think so.
intricacies of the thing.
Yeah, this is definitely an album that you have to listen to really. I feel like to get everything out of it, you have to really
Hmm.
understand everything about it.
Hmm.
Not to sound too
Absolutely,
pretentious.
absolutely. Hate to be a, what do they call them, a gatekeeper, but it's true.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
I think there's a lot going on in this album, and just from like what I'm looking up regarding it right now, it seems like this was a pretty big thing. Like everything about it, even the songs within it.
Oh yeah, one
It
hundred
just
percent.
yeah. What
Absolutely.
now? Let me ask you this. Now
Hmm.
that you know what I think about it, what's your favorite song from this album?
My favorite song,
Yeah.
but I'm going to take a real pretentious approach, and it's in my mind you can't separate it. It kind of works together
Yeah.
as one deal going through. Now
Okay.
there's some high points, there's some low points. I mean, Surfs Up as a standalone composition is one of those few compositions that could stand alone on its own. But everything kind of flows together in reality. I mean, you go from Plymouth Rock to In a Wood Shop, so maybe not, but like it just kind of works together. But
Yeah.
like I said, standalone. And then you have Good Vibrations, which I told you last week about how it's a pocket symphony to God,
Oh yeah.
and that just is just it just and the other thing is too is our prayer. It's such a spiritual, metaphysical thing that you're communicating with vibrations and
Yeah.
sounds. It's just totally different,
I really
transcending, if you
yeah.
will.
I really did like that opening. Like that definitely hit me. That that our prayer. But
Hmm.
what what was up with vegetables? What was going on?
It's funny at the fact because at this time Brian Wilson owned a health food store in Hollywood called the Radiant Radish.
Okay.
And it's funny because this is kind of before the health craze, before workout tapes, before vitamins, before they told you to watch your cholesterol, which all turned out to be pretty much fake. And so I don't know, it's just like a thing, like just eat your vegetables.
Now, did you hear? I wrote this down here. The
uh,
crunching sound is Paul McCartney crunching a piece of celery. Is that true?
I don't know if it's on the 2004. Is that on the 2004 version?
Yeah,
Oh
that's what
wow,
I was told.
I believe it. I believe it. Yeah,
Okay, that
I
that's
didn't
pretty
know
funny.
that.
I'm like, oh, there's a lot of foley in here, like foley, like music that you record that's like sounds.
Yes,
That's what
yes.
we call it in the music business.
As an amateur producer, yes.
But yeah,
Such a horse's ace.
just making sure your credentials are intact. I'm just making sure.
I love it.
Uh,
That's
but
great.
yeah, overall, as an outsider who has never listened to the Beach Boy, any album by the Beach Boys or anything like that, I would say it definitely was a treat, and I think maybe to really appreciate this, I have to go back and just
Hmm.
play it through, just while
Well,
I'm
maybe
while I'm hanging out or
maybe
something.
be a good idea, and I'm not going to recommend this for you for next time, but maybe a good idea would be for you to listen to 2011 version, which is the 1967 version, and
God,
see how
there's
that
so
sounds.
many layers to this whole friggin' thing.
That might be a good place for you to kind of revisit this and see. Okay, this is how it should have sounded. This is how it sounds. This is what is existing now.
Okay, I'll give it a shot. I'll definitely give it a shot, and then I could come back and I could update everyone
Yeah.
on if I have a newfound respect for it. Not that I don't now. Not that I don't now.
All right. All right. Fair enough. You're allowed.
I'm just saying, it wouldn't be what I would listen to on a regular basis. Whereas I know that you would, and I respect that. But I also respect all the work that
Yeah.
went into it. And I think I would appreciate this a lot more if I looked up how they made this. I could probably talk about that too, because I'd be super interested in that, the whole production process of this album.
It's not an album I listen to often either because it's like kind of heavy. Like you
It
kind of got to
is.
be like, I don't really listen to it often. It's not something I put on in the car when I'm
Yeah,
driving
like
around
you're
to the
really
grocery store.
yeah, you're really like wading through it. Like when you're,
Yeah.
like I said, I felt like I was in over my head when I started listening to it. I'm like, oh, this is gonna be heavy, and
Hmm.
it just kept getting more and more, and it didn't let up
Hmm.
either. Now, one more thing before we go on, but what was up with them going? It's because when I was listening to it, and I forget
Yeah.
how many tracks this happened on. I guess
Right.
I shouldn't even call them songs because they're just kind of all together, but there
Hmm.
were many times when I was listening and I thought the song had changed and I looked down, but I was still on the same
Hmm.
track. So what's going on?
Hmm.
What's that about?
Like what do you mean? Like it changes, it shifts gears in the song?
Yeah. Yeah,
Yeah.
it shifts gears and I'm like, it might not sound like a totally new song, but it kind of pauses and then it goes into something else and I'm like, am I listening to something else? But it was the same track.
Interesting. I
Is
don't know.
that
I
just
think
just
that's
how they wrote it? That I should
yeah,
I'll find some examples for you, but yeah, I don't know. I just
interesting.
yeah, just wanted to bring that up. By the way, I'm
Yeah.
looking at vegetables. Bill Pittman played the tenor ukulele. I didn't even know that a tenor ukulele existed.
Oh my
Did they
God. Yeah. How would you ever?
did
Yeah.
they just have? There's a vibraphone in there. There's an overdubbed upright bass, cassinet. Oh, did they just have like a warehouse of instruments for this? This is
Yeah.
incredible.
I know it's wild. I mean, the stuff, and it'll be like literally like for like 5 seconds, and then like it's
Yeah,
something totally different.
the Ray Pullman played the Fender bass for the fade out of vegetables, and
Oh my
that's it.
God,
Like I
that's
like.
fantastic. That's awesome.
Yeah, this is quite an interesting album, and the Wikipedia page on each track is like 10 pages long, so
Yes. Yes.
there's a lot of history to this. So
Yes. Oh, I'm glad you're just scratching the surface. Proud of you.
I really am. So yeah,
Hmm.
if I would recommend this album to someone who is a I don't even know who I'd recommend it to be honest with you. If you're interested in experimental music, then yeah, I would recommend this album 100%. And I really want to research this more.
I think as far as like its place in a production standpoint, I think it's important.
Yeah, I'd
Yeah.
say yeah, definitely important. I should really
Hmm.
learn what they did.
All right. Sounds good.
Yeah.
So what do we have in store for us next? Because we're really literally shifting gears, much
I
like this
mean,
album. We're
I mean
shifting
this
gears totally.
yeah. Mm. A total shift. So I'm sure there's a lot of crossover between people who enjoy the Beach Boys and their experimental music and YouTubers boxing each other. So we're gonna.
Ah, man, love it.
So this creator clash and how iDubbbz and his girlfriend Anissa set this whole thing up, right?
So they set it up.
Yes, they set up this whole thing. They did it all for charity as well.
Oh,
All
okay, yeah,
all
I did know that. Yeah.
yeah, all proceeds go to charity. So they had a bunch of
What's
people in there like, oh, go
sorry?
ahead.
What's the GS name? I want to look this up on Insta while I'm discussing.
Yeah, get a really good visual. Anissa,
Yeah. Okay.
Anissa. Oh man, I can't remember her last name. Just you
This
search
this is iDubbbz's girlfriend.
Yeah,
Okay. Well, I'll tell you what. I recall this seeing this person previously, and because I remember we discussed this previously
yeah,
on a previous show.
yeah. We did.
Oh wow, not tagged. All right, interesting.
Um,
That's a deep dive here for C's sake.
wait, not tagged. What? What are you talking about?
Oh, here I found it. I was
Okay.
putting in too many S's. All right,
Oh, okay.
yeah,
Yeah,
good.
it's really new age, just one S.
Mm-hmm.
But
Got
yeah,
it.
so so anyway, so now I don't know if you know about all this, but Sam Hyde was not invited to this Creator Clash thing. He wanted to fight on the card, but he didn't get it.
Okay.
Now, do you remember Epic Mealtime?
Yes.
That guy was fighting in this fight,
Oh my gosh,
and Sam Hyde trained this guy.
that's so funny.
It's actually it's fantastic because Sam Hyde's a boxer, like he's huge, and he's like, I'm gonna train Harley because he's also huge too. But
Mm.
iDubbbz did not. iDubbbz actually banned Sam Hyde from this thing, and this is where it all
Wow.
starts. So Sam Hyde banned him, and Sam paid $15,000 for 5 front row tickets for charity to show
Right.
up at this place. So Sam Hyde was gonna go there, and he was gonna show up, and iDubbbz was gonna prank him and say, "Well, you're banned, and now you have
Mm.
to fly home."
Right.
Which I think that's kind of shitty. And but then if you watch in the in the Sam Hyde interview, which happened after this, he talks about that Anissa and says she's the
Mm.
reason behind all this. She's the one that's bringing him down. He's cucked out. She's a succubus. All this stuff.
Yeah. Right.
So I mean, my question is like, do you think that's true? Do you think that someone could have that much of a hold on you that cucks you out so hard that you just totally change all of your whole outlook on life? Like you like in the case of this, you have this entire huge thing set up, but you're so cooked out that you
Hmm.
won't even allow someone that you don't like there for charity. I don't know. It
Yes.
just it
Yes.
just it just
Yes.
sounds a little ridiculous to me.
100%. Absolutely.
But that's the whole drama going on now. But I think that comes back to toxic relationships and how it changes people for the worse.
Hmm. Absolutely. 100%. You see it a lot.
I know. Now, can you think of anyone in our life that has had something like that?
I can think of some people that I know that this has happened to. It happens more often than not. I feel like maybe not more often than not, but in extreme circumstances, maybe you're just so blinded by love. And I use the word you're so blinded by love, pointing to big ice over here, just
Mm,
because
yeah,
you know
yeah,
it could
exactly.
happen. I guess it could happen.
I feel like I want to go into this more on another show. But all I'm saying is this will be a short rant. But it's just sad to see it's just sad to see it happen when you go from the top of your game. I mean, if you look at it like a normal person, what
Hmm.
happens to them? They get in a toxic relationship, they lose all their friends, and then they just go off and you never hear from them again.
Hmm.
Usually.
Yes, right. Usually,
But
yes.
but in the case of this, he goes from like this is a money making aspect to it, and he loses like half of his fan base because he's so cucked out by this girl, and now he just
Ugh.
becomes a laughing stock. And the funniest thing is that him losing he got his ass kicked. iDubbbz got absolutely destroyed. But I respect
Right.
him for going in the ring. I mean it definitely takes a lot of balls to do that. But
Sure.
I mean he got tossed around. But I just think the funny thing is that Anissa posted on Instagram and didn't even say like, I'm so proud of him for fighting. Like he trained so hard for this. He trained for like a year to be in this fight, and he got absolutely
Wow.
destroyed. But she didn't even say anything like that. She just posted that picture of him totally defeated and destroyed, and
Oh
and
my
just said, "Oh, I can't
gosh.
wait to frame these memories." I think you'll see it on the Instagram there if you
I
look.
did. I
But
see it, and
yeah,
it's really like a total
kind of gruesome. Like
like
just
yeah,
almost
it
disturbing.
is. I don't understand. What is she trying to get at?
Nowhere apparently. She probably lost a lot of respect for him for doing that. And I mean, like if you listen to Sam, what he said in the interview, he said, "Mark my words, Anissa's going to ruin iDubbbz's life soon, and that's
Right.
what he said. So a little forewarning there. We'll see what happens, but I don't
You
know.
know what's
I
yeah, she used to have an OnlyFans, or she does have an OnlyFans, but it's not in her bio anymore. It's not linked.
That's interesting because
Mm.
I mean, it used to be.
That's what I thought too. I used to be there, right?
Yeah, it did. It used to be it was front and center, but I think she got a lot of flack for it, and so did iDubbbz. But
Oh man.
who knows? Maybe enough people know already. I don't know.
Yeah, maybe there's enough subscribers. It's the queue is full. I mean, you know what? I'm just gonna say. I mean, for him to ruin his whole life over this chick, it ain't worth it.
No, absolutely not. It's really not. But again, I
I
really
hate to be like this.
yeah, I really want to talk about this more on another episode where we could just focus on women like that. But all I'm saying is in the rant for this is that it's really sad. It's really sad to see someone like this fall from grace so hard like they did because it's it's just embarrassing, honestly.
Yeah,
But
yeah, poor iDubbbz.
yeah, but props to him for stepping in the ring and manning up. But I mean, he definitely got tossed around by a guy who uses boxing as fitness. But he was at Dr. Mike. You ever see that Dr. Mike?
Yeah, I have seen that, and
Yeah,
I'm looking
yeah,
at his Insta now. He's all about it.
yeah, yeah. So Dr. Mike really beat him up. But I mean, he tried. But it just kind of sucks that you're with someone who doesn't even respect you enough to support you after you put on like a multi-million-dollar boxing event and doesn't even have the decency to respect you after that. I don't know. I just think it's a little ridiculous. I guess I didn't have enough. I guess I didn't have much to say about this that I wanted to that
No,
I had in my head, but
yeah.
but
The rant is iDubbbz is cooked out, and I thought it was interesting too on his Insta December 20th, 2021.
mhm.
Went to Jake Paul fight. It was a good time. Only been boxing for 4 months, but I'm pretty certain I would punch the short out of Jake. Would be a messy night for sure.
Oh
So
well,
it's,
yeah.
it's health. So it's a selfie of him and then Anissa in the bathroom mirror, and she's not tagged in the post. I thought that was interesting.
Wow, that actually is kind of interesting. I wonder.
Mm.
Wonder if we're on rocky ground here.
I sure hope so for his sake.
I don't know. She has that. It's that archetype of that girl
Mhm.
that just like comes in and just terrible.
Yes, he does
Like
have that archetype. Yes.
yeah. You understand what I mean?
Oh, I understand totally.
Yeah, a little too so.
Unfortunately, I have firsthand experience with this. Well, secondhand from you. It's really unfortunate, but yes.
Oh man, I'd love to go. I'd love to talk about that in another. I mean, I don't know if anyone really care about our personal.
Oh man, I'd
Uh,
love to listen to it. I'd love
uh,
to deep dive.
just kind of a rant, just a deep dive, and we could just go off for like a half hour about it. I think it'd probably be fun.
That's awesome. That sounds
Yeah.
like a good plan.
But yeah, so anyway, don't get into stuff like that. Is my best advice to anyone out there, and we'll definitely go into it on another show. But yeah, that's all I had to say about that. Is if you watched it, I mean, it was probably money well spent. But at the same time, I think the real loser in all of this is iDubbbz,
Absolutely.
doubly.
100%.
Yeah,
100%.
and I hope Sam Hyde puts on his own boxing event because I would definitely pay. I'd probably buy tickets to go see that. I think that'd be fun.
Yeah, absolutely.
So yeah, Dixon.
That'd be interesting. It'll be interesting to see. Maybe they should box. And this and iDubbbz. And she seems like she's all
Probably
about equality and everything else. Why
yes.
not? Why not? Let's do it.
Yeah, he probably does every night. He probably beats him. He's probably in the doghouse now for losing that fight.
Oh
Honestly,
yeah,
you know
he's
it.
definitely
Like,
get. Yeah, he's definitely getting Amber Hearded big
yeah.
time. Just beat up.
Yeah, he's sleeping on the couch for the next month.
Yeah. Oh my god. But it's funny because he posted how it was a great success, the event itself, and she just posted, "Oh, great memories."
Yeah, I know.
Yeah. Oh well,
Man,
times change.
something else.
Well,
Well,
it's another successful records and rants.
yeah, another one in the books. Uh,
Next week, let's do it. Let's do a deep dive, personal deep dive
oh, I can't
into
wait.
relationships and how they work.
I can't wait. Ice tells all.
I just did what?
No, I feel like we have a lot to say about this. It could be almost like a
Yeah,
life
it could
lessons
be.
kind of thing.
Yeah, life
Yeah.
lessons with Ice and Dixon.
Should be fun. Should be fun.
Sounds good.
All right, guys. We messed up there, but we will see you next week on Records and Rants. Peace out.
Peace.